You know, with
Leave
all
us
the
a
dark,
review,
scary
just keep
things
tuning
happening
in.
in the world right now,
Every wave you
you
catch
might be feeling heavy.
matters.
And
Maybe
remember,
hopeless.
what we
But
focus
beneath
on
the surface,
actually
there's something very
expands.
powerful happening.
We are all
It's an awakening.
connected.
I'm Jay Pryor, spiritual seeker, life coach, and teacher.
And I'm Megan Lee, a 7th generation seer and medium. We're bringing our gifts to this present moment.
Exploring our own awakening and talking with leaders, healers, and visionaries who are helping others wake up as well.
We're also diving into the neuroscience of the woo-woo, exploring how science is finally catching up with the spiritual and helping explain it.
We believe that what we focus on expands and that we are all deeply connected.
Welcome to your awakening.
So today we're talking about guides.
That's right. Spirits and guides and angels. Oh my.
There are so many. Before Jay and I push record, I was telling them we should probably and probably will break down the types of guides into different episodes because it's vast. It's a vast topic. And the thing that's cool is that you've got human guides, right? And those are like mentors, peers, human guides that guide you through life. You've got esoteric guides who have never been human before. You've got embodied masters, and a lot of people call them ascended masters. And those are people that has been almost deitized. I don't know the correct pluralization of that. But
that they're deities, like deitized?
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Like for instance, Kuan Yin.
As deities.
Yes, yeah. Like Kuan Yin was a living woman who was canonized and sainted and then deitized. So,
Right.
there's so many different levels of that. And I wanted to talk about all of it because it's an incredibly, incredibly important topic because we're not alone.
Mm-hmm. But why is it important for us to know them or for us to, why? Why do we need, people will go around their whole lives without knowing that they have guides or angels or whatever, right?
Right.
Does it matter?
Yeah. And the really cool thing, the really, really cool thing is no, you don't.
No.
No,
No, it doesn't.
it doesn't matter if you know who they are or not.
Okay. So then why is it an important conversation?
Because the more information you know, the better you can use them.
Got it.
Because if someone's, holding your hand through this life and you don't recognize them and you don't acknowledge them, there's never, like a parent, you're not going to let that child's hand go. You're still going to be there. But knowing them, you could say, I know you're good at this.
Mm-hmm.
This is specifically what I want help with.
Mm-hmm.
Or I know you're the one holding my hand right now, and yet I need something else. Can we talk to somebody else? Can you pull someone else? Do they change out? Do they tag team? Do they communicate?
Yeah. Okay, cool. Awesome. So where do we start? Where do you start? I would go with, because I'm trying to represent your average Joe here because I'm basically there. So if I was going to ask, I think the guardian angel, is that true? Does everybody have one? Is that a good place to start?
Yeah, that's totally okay. So you say the word angel.
Mm-hmm.
So angels in general are a sector of guides.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it's a guardian angel, an archangel, a more esoteric angel, a heart angel, they have their own hierarchy and they have their own set of things that they help with. And to answer your question, no, you are not assigned a single angel, that is with you from womb to tomb.
Okay.
People do have what's called a namesake. The
Hmm.
name Joan is a namesake of Joan of Arc.
Okay.
The name Diana has a namesake of Diana the Huntress. People have
Okay, but what's that? You're confusing me. Like, what's that got to do with like
if you are named after
change their names?
true, but
Oh,
if you're named after a patron saint or a
mhm,
namesake, then
mhm,
yes, you can be assigned that person to always go back to and attune yourself with, or that will help you.
hmm,
A lot of cultures um, will look at the day that the person was born, and whoever rules over that day on the calendar of saints
mhm,
that's your namesake. And that's the person you go towards, right? That's culturally. That's not
mhm.
that's not a humanity thing,
Right.
right? So,
Mhm.
no, on a human level, no. On a culture level, yes.
Got it. Okay, got it.
Does that make sense?
And you know, I always say, and maybe I'm full of it, but I mean, I really believe the whole world of the New Thought and Charles Fillmore's 12 powers and the notion that imagination is one of our powers, and that's one of the ways that we connect. And so, if we want to imagine that we're connected to, like, for example, my St. Francis or in St. Christopher medal, I mean,
Right.
um, then I can call on St. Christopher and Christopher will be there,
Correct.
right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why people and parents bestow saints or
Hmm.
angels to a
Hmm.
child.
Right. Right. Well, in Catholicism, when you're confirmed, you kind of have your own patron saint, right? That's that's your saint.
Correct.
Kind of, my ears just started ringing big time. So, just so you know.
I want to, that is a wonderful topic to go into is how do you know?
Hmm.
How do you know that you're being guided? How do you know this is not your intuition, but a guidance, or not your brain, but an outside thing? And
Hmm.
ears ringing is a big one.
Hmm.
It's a big one.
Yeah.
Another,
Which I didn't know. Oh,
yes,
recently. So, I've started paying attention
yes.
to when they go on.
And pressure is another sign. A lot of
Hmm.
people get pressure on their head, on top of their
Hmm.
head, on their forehead, on their throat, and at the back of the head, and on the chest.
Hmm.
And then right where your diaphragm is.
Hmm. I feel energy when I go into meditate. And once I ask my guides and everybody to join me, I feel the swirl
Mhm,
of energy right above my palms.
mhm.
And then now, because this has kind of gotten bigger over time, but that's how it started, is I could just feel like swirling energy sitting in the palm of my hand.
Mm,
Well, now I can make that go all, like, especially after I call them in, then I can feel that all throughout my whole body, like
cool.
that.
The tinglings.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like tingling, but it feels like it's almost like a light breeze. If I had to
Mhm.
describe it with words, because words don't make sense, but almost like a light. I could tell that it's swirling. It's like a little, because like they're making a little air because it's moving around.
Mhm.
Well, it feels just like energy swirling. I don't know if that's what that is, but I know that I can feel it in
Yes,
my whole body being.
yes, yes. And a way to practice that feeling, meditation.
Yeah, that's what I do. That's what I'm talking about. Is when I go meditate, I
Meditation
do that.
is how you can practice that. Because in meditation, it will be really important for you to have a focal point. I tell people to, when you close your eyes, to stare up,
Hmm.
because that's just a direction that your eyes don't normally go.
Hmm.
You know, if you look up, your whole head looks up. But if you're
Hmm.
looking up with your eyes
Hmm.
only then you are focusing on something that you don't normally focus on, but you're holding that focal point so that you don't have to guess, is this my mind? No, because your mind is focusing on your eye gaze.
Mhm.
right? A lot of traditions do an outside eye gaze, a fire or flame, a point of whatever. It's just the sorting out of your brain and your mind.
Mhm.
But what happens on a neurological level, we talked about, is gray matter.
Mhm.
We
Right.
need more gray matter. And when you do that, your brain will create the gray matter because there won't be a place for it yet. It will need to create it.
Hmm.
That's what will happen. It will start to create it.
Hmm.
So by you realizing those body sensations, and that doesn't have to be a physical thing. So, like I'm not saying if not everybody feels like you feel. Sometimes people will start seeing flashes of light underneath their eyes as if there's a meteor shower, those light filaments. Some people will hear the ear ringing. Like, if once you stop paying attention to and putting your own intention on how you're supposed to quote unquote feel or respond or act, what's going to happen to you, and just start letting and experiencing that happen to you, that's when it comes.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, I taught myself, and I didn't teach myself, but I had a buddy teach me who's a hypnotherapist. And I'd done enough hypnotherapy on my own because I like to be hypnotized. I'm a fan. I taught myself how to put myself into a trance.
Uh-huh.
And I do that before I kind of do that and go in
Uh-huh.
to meditate. And
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Which is good.
yeah.
That's very good. Hypnotherapy is a really good one. We'll do a whole episode on that too, because I'm also a fan.
You hypnotize me, and I'm easy to hypnotize. I'm very open, but I like it. It works really well for me.
Yeah, I
So
am not. I am not open, and I am not easy to be hypnotized. And I put up several walls for people that I have
yeah,
to like go through. But there's something that happens in my brain that's like dun, 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 dun. Once those walls are passed, then it's like a door unlocks and it's weird. But if
mhm,
yeah, I can't go to like beginning hypnotherapist because my brain library is
yeah.
has do not enter parts of my brain.
Well, and my buddy is a hypnotherapist, and this is the one. There's very few men in the world that I really, really, really love and trust, and he's one of them. He's one of the few men in my life that isn't related to me. That is, I just trust him like blindly. I do, and so part of that is like, I knew who I was with, but I also like just Michael Seeley is one of my favorites. Bob Proctor, those guys and their YouTube hypnotist stuff, the hypnotizing meditations. That's powerful stuff. I love it.
Mhm. Yes, yeah, yes, it
I,
is.
I need to reset, man. I can reset. You can reset with meditation, like anytime, place.
Yeah.
I,
And those
yeah,
types of guides and guidance and tools definitely fall under the human guides, right? Sometimes I cannot tap into my esoteric guides. I need a human guide. I need a human tool. I need somebody else's guidance to walk me to my own esotericism or walk me out of my own brain. So that's a really good thing.
I want you to talk more about that. That sometimes you just said the words. Sometimes I can't. Did you say access?
Mhm,
Your gut? I wasn't sure.
mhm.
Because, see, I've been having this trouble accessing blue or feeling blue, like I'm not feeling blue. And I've definitely been eating too much sugar. So I know that when I'm eating too much sugar, I'm dense and more dense, and I don't have you know, but I mean, because, my world, my belief is like they're always there,
Mhm,
and the block is me,
mhm.
right? So is that your experience? The block is you, but you also obviously
100%.
have that block sometimes too, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. Anytime my issue is close to my heart, I can't hear it. The
Mhm.
closer it is to my heartstrings, the dumber I get about it. Really.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
make silly ass mistakes. I make
Mhm.
silly
Now, of course, I'm just like sitting on me now, so
yeah, it's the Um, but once you acknowledge, right? You acknowledge and then it gets to come through. And
Well,
sometimes my hard-headedness, especially when it gets close to my heart, I'm out, I don't hear anything. And I can't tap in, I can't tune in. So I have a team of people, like you said, that I explicitly trust to that I don't have to talk therapy my way in.
no.
And I go in, I sit down, I know to me, energy work is and brain work and neuroscience work, and I know it. So if I have a hiccup in my life, I cannot move forward. No ritual I'm having is working. Then I know that I'm in my dumb brain, I'm gonna slip up, and if I don't listen, my slip ups get louder and louder and louder until I'm like, all right, I'm the asshole here. Here we go. And then I have to go get work
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
When those cards are pulled and slapped on my face, I'm like, "Oh, me. That's a me."
Yeah.
So then when I go, and whether that's Reiki, whether that's craniosacral, whether that's sound healing, tuning, like I will go for other readings and say, "What do I need?" And then go to that person that does that thing, therapy, whatever it is, like and then once I go and I do that click and they tell me what to do next, and then it's like my intuition floods back into me. And a lot of times, most of the time, I gain more access, ability, and attunement to myself than I
Yeah.
had before.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. That makes sense.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, for the people out there that think that they cannot hear, sense, none of that, a lot of
Hmm.
times, once you go seek help to that outside human and that human guide that you love and trust, then the ahas start to come back in
Hmm.
right after that, like
Yeah. Yeah. And
floodgates.
that's what we do with coaches, right? So as a coach, a lot of what I do with people is I just help them tune the dial,
Yes.
right? Because it's out. They're just out of, and most of it's spiritual hygiene or integrity, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And some of it's things that it's a trigger. A lot of times if I get triggered in certain ways, no matter how much personal hygiene I have or integrity that I have, I can't get back to or over the trigger.
Right, because the trigger isn't happening right now. Trigger in our brain,
Right.
and in terms of science, the trigger it has a timestamp on it that is history,
Correct.
right? If it's one of my good friends that's a therapist told me if it's hysterical, it's history, and that means it's not happening right now. You're responding to a trigger that is not happening in this moment,
Isn't that crazy?
but the brain is. But yeah, so
Yeah.
that's a thing. A trigger is, and I think that's important distinction. A trigger is a way different than just getting dysregulated or
Correct.
getting off my happy formula, or it's different. It's
Correct.
different. A trigger kicks your ass a little bit,
It does.
and I am not as good. I'm better than I have been ever, and I'm getting better every time at being gentle with myself after I hit a trigger,
Mhm.
uh, because I'm like, okay, got that. Let's move on.
Mhm.
I got shit to do. I got shit to do.
Mhm.
I don't have time for this. But I'm learning that if I don't take time for that, it's gonna just continue to kick my
Right.
ass, and I'm gonna.
So those human mentors and coaches and guides and peer guides, those are all very, very important. To me,
Yeah.
those almost the most important. And I don't want to say most because they have a lot of equally heavy things, but they're very important to have in your life. You cannot proceed alone in this world, and having those human guides and human coaches are incredibly important
Yeah.
to talk about.
Agree. Agree.
But going more into the esoteric, if you are not attached to a religion or a culture or an area that has a deity, an angel, or a saint, the question I get a lot is who else is around me? Name my guides. So the next set of guides that I always see in people's energy, if it is not a human, the very next wave, or sainted, the very next wave that comes in is your ancestors. Because as we've learned in this podcast, if you've been listening at all, if not, go back to a Susie Roman who says the science on how much DNA you get and how much of your own actions may not be yours. That may not be your shit. And yet you're still wielding it as it is.
Mhm. Yeah.
So a lot of times when people pass to the other side, and I know this is not a nice thing to say, but the more fucked up the situation, the more that human has a need to be a guide for their lineage to be.
Huh. Good to know.
So a lot of times I'll see a great, 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 great around someone.
Yeah. How do you know it's a great, 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 great?
For me,
Do they tell you? Do they show you
yes.
something that they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, if it's a parent, I get the feeling of big hug, love parent, the parenting. You got to flex. You got a dad voice, you got a mom voice, it's like that will come in. If it's a grandparent, the grandparents are allowed to do things that parents are not supposed to do. You'll get that feeling of big hugs, giving candy because I'm a grandparent.
Right.
If it's a great grand, you'll get the wisdom of, I knew that child. I know that child is one of mine, but I may not have a connection to that child. Anything above that, I will see almost a black and white photo montage of the connections and the family tree of how that person relates to the person I'm sitting right in front of.
Cool.
So they'll show me I'm on the father's side or I'm on the mother's side, but then they'll show me, how many branches of that tree. And they'll tell me something along the lines of, I'm here to address the family curse, quote unquote. Right. And a lot of times and if you're just listening, I'm using air quotations. The family curse is you had a great, great, great who was an alcoholic and they lived in a time of famine. Something tragic happened. That whole family line now has, this.
Well, I mean, if you can't, I honestly believe especially if you're a white person in America, you're an alcoholic. There's an alcoholic in there somewhere. I mean, there's alcohol. I mean, come on. It's just ridiculous how much alcohol is used to numb so that people can have power over it. I mean, all of it. It's just disgusting. But alcohol is a huge curse that we're
absolutely.
still, all of us are dealing with the curse of alcoholism.
But also, like Susie Roman was talking about in her episode of one of her clients had a lung disease that, and that was the quote unquote family curse is they have lung issues. And it was because somebody's great held that grief.
Yep.
And that will be the guide of the entire family lineage. Because it was their bad.
Huh. Interesting.
And then, yes, of course, I've got my grandmother on my mother's side. Boy, she comes in all the time. She's around me all the time. I know because I loved her. She was my most favorite person in the whole world when I was little. And so you also have that too.
Yeah.
So your ancestral lineage is there as guides.
Yeah.
And how to attune to them is less meditation and more actual hearing of their story. Speaking their name, finding out what they liked, disliked, finding out what era they lived in, when they lived in, how they lived, what they work as. that research will build a story for them and their story for them to help you unravel your own personal actions now.
Interesting.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So that's the second wave of guides that are usually there. And so the first one is if you have a religious, cultural, or land-based tie to a deity or a canonized saint or patron, something like that. You know?
Yeah.
The other one is your folks, your ancestors.
Mhm.
And then you go into more esoteric guides. Those esoteric guides can be anything from star seeds from other planets, elemental guides, or earth-based guides, or beings that share our planet with us.
Okay.
So
Same old.
that means we'll start at Earth and the beings that share our planet with us. Yes, that can be an animal, a flight of birds. It could be all of those type of spirit guides. Animal totems are a real thing. Those are all guides and how we live our life. And a lot of cultures also believe in that too. You know, if you see an owl, what does that mean? You know, there's a meaning held to that.
Yeah.
So those animal guides and the of who lives with us and shares this earth are also there. But also, this planet is so much bigger than the city and state you live in.
Mhm.
So there are other elementals that are also share this earth with us. And a lot of people go very woo-woo with this. They'll go into the land of the dragons and the fairies and the gnomes and the creatures and you know, that's a subset of that. And then a lot of people get very literal in it, such as the hum of an earthquake before an earthquake happens, the wind before a hurricane,
Hmm.
the earth elements that also speak, those are guides, right? The stars themselves are guides. There's whole entire cultures who they do nothing but sky watch. They're called sky watchers. There's a Mesoamerican subsect of people who to this day do not live off of the Gregorian calendar. They sky watch
Mhm.
on their calendars, and that's their calendar. And they let those planets guide them on what they're supposed to be doing.
Mhm.
And each of those planets have something that they hold. If you see Saturn in the air, then you are supposed to be working on anger and what angers you. If you see Neptune in the air, then you're supposed to be working on the unknown and mysticism. So those guidances are guides on life forces and life timing of where and what you're supposed to be doing with yourself as a human versus how you're supposed to be acting as a human.
Mm.
Yeah?
Mhm.
Okay. Then, after those earth and those elemental guides, the stars and the planets, we go into planetary systems that have guidance, angels, and entities that are bestowed upon the earth as a whole to guide us. An example of those star clusters or systems, and I'll just go over the major ones because will there be more than what I speak on? Duh. Yes, without a doubt. Are these the major ones that are seen, recognized, and theorized across the world culture. Absolutely. No matter what culture, no matter what part of the world you are in, you say these sets, and someone there will not look at you crazy, or they will at least know what you're talking about. Palladian. The Pleiades is a section, stars cluster that send adversaries to Earth to help all humans, no matter what, and animals, no matter what you believe in, no matter what you came from. These people will always, these, and I just say people, but they've never been human before, right? They're star clusters that assist you in transitioning, heart opening. They are great in emotional awakening. A lot of people put Palladians into a category that they help a lot of empaths, a lot of innate healers, a lot of innate teachers. And it doesn't matter if you're good or bad, what your true intentions are. Palladians are true neutral individuals. And they love educating and unlocking into higher frequencies. So a lot of times they're very lawfully attuned, but lawfully chaotic or lawfully good, they don't sway. They just assist in that unlocking. They also will have a color, a feel, or a vibe to them that's very unique to them because of their educational, we'll say, hierarchy within the solar system. They're always depicted as very stoic heart beings. So a lot of times people will see or feel them as the ooey gooeys, the tinglies, the very, but always very straight up. You don't see them or feel them as small. You will always feel them as tall. They will have a hue of lightness to them versus denseness. So they're never going to be navy blue. They will be carnelian blue, sky blue. You know what I mean? They're more of the opalescent frequency versus the pigmented frequency. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
The Syrian guides. Syrian and Syria, Syrian A, Syrian B are the biggest historically planetized, noted planets in the star cluster of systems. A lot of Syrians have been humans and incarnate in humans and then go back to Syrian cluster. The Syrian cluster are notable on structure. They also are very grounded in their spiritual wisdom. They bestow spiritual wisdom. They are really good about stabilizing harmony, things like that. They are they don't judge human action because a lot of them understand the emotions of a human more than other subsex or star sex. So anytime that you will see them, they'll be a little heavier, denser in their feel and in what they do. They're really to unlock the mind and that channel into the heart wisdom, versus the Palladians are there to open their heart into a higher frequency. The Syrians help understand that frequency and kind of ground in what is tangible, actual tasks. So people who are in transitions, who are in the transition, but they need to know steps. A lot of times, Syrians will be around them to kind of show their wayfinders. They show you the way. They're very good in rituals. They're really good at rituals. Because those Syrians would be the sect of humans that are humanoids, I should say, that a lot of Aztec people say help build pyramids
Huh.
or any type of higher technology, water theory, things like that. That's what they do. Arcturians is a sub-star seed sect. And these people have an invocation for healing. So if you're going through straight emotions, something that's really thumping your heart chord, this sect of guides will help with the emotions of happenstance in that happenstance. A question I get a lot are these entities around me all the time? And that answer is no. It depends what you're going through, right? Because they help all of humanity. It's not about you. It's about what you're going through at that time. So if you don't have heavy emotions right now, they're probably not around you in that thing. These are really good. This subsect are around healers a lot. A lot of Reiki healers, because it's the subtle energy that is the emotional body. So they're good at that. I've got two more. So the next one that I have is Andromedan. And the Andromedan guides, and the Andromeda star clusters system that helps all of Earth are really about freedom, emotional freedom, spiritual freedom, individual thought processes, unhooking from a collective and into your own guidance, into your own wisdom. A lot of times, these people, and I keep saying people, but they're entities. These entities are like the electric color frequency. They're the neon color frequency. They always like the tingling sensation. People who cannot physically feel energy. These group of subsects help you unlock that, so that you can feel into what you're supposed to be feeling into. And the last one is Lyran. And this is from the Lyra constellation star system. And they are really good at ancient wisdom and leadership. So they will have your purpose in hand. When you're walking into purpose mode, they are the ones pushing doors open for you. They are really good in storytelling. They're the voice when people start talking and telling a story. It's like the story that will come through you will be from these people, these energies, not people, two people. They help you remember the sacredness of whomst you are. And a lot of times that surpasses religion, that surpasses your spiritual belief system, ritual actions, and or your logic, and goes straight into the intention of you and your heart. And then they'll pass it on to whoever's good at collectivity, but they're very good at individual leadership and courage and diving into yours, and they're great wayfinders, to make that path and push you through it. So those 2 to 5 groups of etheric, esoteric guides are who I personally see and who I've, talked to a lot of other people. Those systems don't really have individual names when people say, "Who are my guides?" Oh, it's the Palladians. There is not it's not going to be John Doe.
Hmm.
It will be a substack of people or of that energy that will help people.
Are there guides that are with you from the time you're born until you die? So none of them are ever just stick around forever, or just your ancestors?
Um, Most of the time, unless you have that cultural namesake or that religious basis or that land own, no. There are, for instance, I practice Yoruban African spiritualism, but that's attached to a land, right? So I know the Orishas are always with me, and they've always been with me because my blood is black.
Mhm.
But is there a specific one that is always with me? No.
Mhm.
And is it something but is it something that I would have to intentionally call for them to be there? No.
Hmm.
Are they more intelligent than you? Without a doubt. So can they know, sense, or be there the moment you need them? Yes, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. And how do they know that you're about to go through this? Well, because they're wiser than us. They're not confined by this meat bag that we're in, this body that we have, and these problems of paying your light bill and making sure that you have food.
Okay, so that being said, though, one of the things that I've heard more than once is that there's all kinds of angels,
Mhm.
and that they're happy to assist you,
Mhm.
and however that you have to ask.
Angels are like that, but not the reason that you have to ask them specifically is free will.
Okay.
Angels specifically are attached to free will.
Hmm. Okay.
And without your consent, they will assume that this is part of your path.
Right. Okay.
But not
Got it.
every, like Palladians, you're not going to have to ask like that.
Okay.
Angels, very specifically, are tuned to free will.
Okay. Got it. And you mean, when you say that, because angels are a broad topic, right? So isn't there a hierarchy of angels, sort of?
Not
So
sort of,
I,
most definitely.
okay, so I could say my parents, they're not angels, they're ancestors,
Mhm.
but there's a bunch of angels in between my parents and, say, Gabriel, who, if I had an archangel, right, it would probably be Gabriel, because I'm a mouthy speaker. I speak in public all the time. Gabriel's the speaking, right, angel. So if I had a archangel, I would guess, people told me before that I have Gabriel. So Gabriel, between my parents and Gabriel, there's a bunch of other different kind of angels, right? That, like, is it? I mean, it just sounds silly to me, but I don't care. Who cares? It's silly. It's all, whatever. But that are looking for shit to do. Like, is that true? Like, come on, is that right? Like, there's angels that are looking for shit to do. That's funny.
So,
People cracks me up.
with saying that, you gotta keep in mind how many humans there are on Earth right now, right?
That's a lot. 6
And
billion.
here in America, we have we have first world problems.
Right.
But
Right.
as we speak, there is genocide happening in this
Right.
moment.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
the angels will be where they need to be, period.
Right. Okay.
regardless of that hierarchy, they will absolutely be where they are needed. And it may not be you at the moment. Can you though? Because that's your patron saint, because that's what, like who you are as a person. Could you have a little card of them on your altar, light that candle, and then be around you? Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Are they going to be with the person who's speaking out to help Palestine get free? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
But they can be everywhere at the same time all at once, can't they not?
Because they're not harnessed by the density of a body and or the
Right.
density of a condition.
Right.
They're not densified like that. But to answer your question, there's a lot of, yes, there are minor angels, there's major angels, there's archangels, and there's arcana angels. So there's angels higher than arcs.
Mm.
And they all do different. There's an angel that is specifically for people who do shadow work. There are death angels that are specifically around people when they die. So there's so many subsects of angels. It's
Yeah.
unreal how many angels there are.
Yeah.
Do they all have wings? No. Do they?
Is wing a thing?
What?
Are wings even a thing?
Yes.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Because what wings are is an extension of oneself.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
does it have to be a feather? No. Is it an extension of your energy? Yes. There's a lot of people who say, "Oh, I felt like I was tucked under their wing."
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I wondered if it was a metaphor, or if it was,
It's a
I don't
metaphor
know.
based off of a feeling that is invoked by an energy or frequency.
Sure. Right.
Yes.
Got it. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's a lot so far on on
It's a
guides.
lot of information. It's very meaty. Um,
It is.
And you could go off of each one of those, like I can definitely write down, the top 7 angels, and we can do an angel episode and get an angel reader on here, and
I
we'll
like
talk.
angel. I
Absolutely.
know.
Yeah.
I have a few listening to for years.
Yes. Yeah. And then they are tuned to the frequency of that.
Mhm.
And then you go into, can anybody channel those frequencies, no matter if it's an angel or an Arcturian or a Palladian? How do you become one of those humans? Is someone's life path? What is that life path? Do we have life paths? All of those answers are yes.
But don't you think, like everybody I've known who's an angel talker, I mean, I know an angel talker who just started being an angel talker in the past year, and just like the rest of us, I mean, she was guided to it. Like it becomes, the synchronicities become so obvious that you cannot not take a step toward it.
Yeah.
That's how you be an angel talker.
Yeah.
Be an angel talker.
As a medium,
Mhm.
we have had conversations about after death, what happens. And we haven't really talked about before life, what happens. And before life, you have contracts that you sign, that you agree to, that
I hate this part, right?
yeah, that you thought out. You've seen playbacks of 1,000,000, 100,000,000, cajillion times before
Right.
your soul incarnates into a physical body. I've seen this happen so many times. When you contract to be a communicator for a frequency, that path is so wide you couldn't fall off of it as tried. You couldn't fuck that up hard enough for you not to do that. There's nothing you could do to fuck that up. No matter what happens before you leave that body, you will absolutely be a communicator for that frequency period.
Interesting.
And people say, what is the difference between my intuition and what is guidance? Intuition will come in as a feeling, as a quick thought. A guidance is more like a push. It's more like the serendipitous ahas, or that inner push of, I couldn't go a different direction. I tried.
Mhm. Yeah, I understand that.
And it's not really the, was this me? It was more like, who the fuck was that?
Right. Yeah.
And that's the difference between guidance and intuition. And can that guidance be given to you as your own intuition? Of course, yes. And a
Sure.
lot of times it is.
Right.
But a lot of times, if you are attuned to the frequency of that guidance, it doesn't matter what else or other action, all your actions, all your thoughts, and all your feelings will also be at that same frequency. And when you're at a certain frequency, birds of a feather, they flock together. That energy just melds together. And those actions and those thoughts kind of become unseparable of, was this me or was this them? Because long term, it doesn't matter, especially if you've already contracted to be that, or to do that, or to live that.
There you go.
Yeah. And can you go back on your
And
contracts? Yes.
we can. Yeah, we can. We can renege.
Yes. Yeah.
It'll feel good though.
You can. And a lot of times, even that's contracted,
Maybe.
that contract will end and you'll start another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Awesome.
That makes sense.
So this topic, we'll get deep, then we'll get further into this topic and talk about a lot more of this topic. But that's just kind of a sound bite of guides
Yeah.
and who's out there, and that we're all truly not alone.
Yeah. I mean, that's the one thing is like, I think that no matter what we talk about, there's just like the oneness aspect is always just prevalent. We're not alone, but we're also one and we're all connected. So
Yes. Yes.
I love that.
What a beautiful note
Yeah.
to end on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right on. Thanks, Megan.
Awesome.
Thanks for catching the wake up wave with us.
We hope today sparked something in you, a reminder, a question, or even a deeper breath.
If you're feeling the shift, share this episode, leave us a review, or just keep tuning in. Every wave you catch matters.
And remember, what we focus on actually expands. We are all very deeply connected.